DeLuca here. All right, I have a whole mess of colors going on here. We're going to be putting a rainbow in a cup. This is going to be a straight bore, but I'm not using metallics. Can you believe it? I wanted to demonstrate, remind people that yes, you can get these effects without the metallics, but I am still using the Decoart Americana Decor. This is the Satin Enamel in pure white. So the mixture that I use is 25% of the satin enamel and then 75% of whatever my base color is. You don't need a lot to get the effect. It's very, very matte, and so it makes these paints matte. And then my base color has a bit more of a gloss to it, and so it will make cells. So the colors that we have, my base is Dioxazine Purple with a bit of the Titanium White added to it. I'm using, all of these are the Liquitex Basics colors, with the exception of the Satin Enamel. I have the Phthalo Blue with the Satin Enamel. They all have satin enamels in them, actually, but not the base color. The small cups have satin enamel in it. I have Phthalo Green. The Cadmium Yellow Light Hue, this does make cells on its own, but it's a very specific cell. They look more like the pearl cells. They're small, very uniform cells. And I want them to be bigger. So I added the satin enamel to that. And then I have the Naphthol Crimson that has the satin enamel added to it and a bit of the yellow because it wasn't quite orange enough for me. It was a little too pink. So I made that more orange. These paints have been mixed, 1 part paint to 2 parts Floetrol. That mixture is then thinned with my 90% water, 10% Floetrol concoction until I get the proper consistency, which is, so this is about a 2 on my consistency scale. I could even go to a 1 for this. But it makes a mound, but it disappears very quickly. That's what we're looking for. The thinner you go, well, I mean, I don't want to say that because I don't want you to go too thin and then break your polymer bonds. But if you're using all of the same colors, all of the same pouring mediums, you feel like you're doing everything the same and you're not getting cells, probably you need to go thinner. It also makes a difference. I use a measuring cup with a spout. There's a different kind of straight pour that will give you a different effect, like the Ceramic kind. She makes a bit of a thicker consistency, and she uses a regular cup. And so it comes out of the spout differently, and you get a different effect. You get these cool little fingerling things. It creates beautiful effects. It's just different. I'm just going for a different thing here. Yes, so recap, because sometimes this confuses people. Each of my cell colors, so the color that is not my background, has 25% of the satin enamel in it. And then I add the rest of the paint, my colored paint. So I have that mixture. I start with that. And then I add the Floetrol. And then I add my thinning agent. Okay. I hope that clears up some questions for people. Before we get started, have you seen the Fluid Art inspiration cards? If you have, you can fast forward about a minute, but if you have not, what we have are 52 cards. There are 42 technique cards, and each technique card has an associated video here on YouTube. That is the picture from that video. This box here is a little tip for that particular technique, and down here you have a color palette that is associated with that particular painting. These two boxes can also be used as the basis of a 2-color palette, or you can build off of that. And there are also 8 bonus color palette cards. Each one has 5 color palettes. Use some of the colors, use all of the colors, mix and match the bonus palettes with your techniques, and you have many thousands of combinations, more than you can ever paint in a lifetime. And you can use it for other forms of art like alcohol ink or crochet, beadwork, decorating your house, what have you. These are available at my website, GinaDeLuca.net, and now also available at Amazon.com. Okay, normally I will do my base coat and then put my paints in the cup. When I'm using the Decoart Americana Decor Metallics, I will do it that way because it sells so quickly. I don't have time to put it down on my canvas before it starts selling up in the cup, but I'm not blending these colors. I'm going to layer it gently, and then as I am laying down my base coat, the colors will sink. Usually my yellow will sink, and yeah, so that's how we're going to do it this time. So the first thing I'm going to do is put my paint in the cup. Always check your consistencies before you pour it. I just checked it before I started the video, but it's always good to check again. Okay. So I'm going to do about 2 ounces of each. I'm gonna have paints left over, I'm sure. Okay, blue and then green. Normally I put the yellow in last, but not today. Okay, and I'm just going to put a bit of this purple on top. That is about as much as I can fit in that cup. So the reason I have my edges painted is because these paints are mixed thin. And if they are mixed thin, you may not get the coverage that you desire on the sides. You might have some canvas showing through, and it is just easier to paint the edges first than it is to come in later and touch up your sides, especially when you have custom blended colors like this. If I had to mix this exact shade of purple again, it would be a real pain in the booty. And the reason we're laying down this base coat is because I want my composition to stay intact as much as possible as I'm tilting. If you don't have a base coat, when you pour your puddle, or when you're pouring it, something has to stick to the canvas, right? It's a dry canvas. And if you don't have a base coat, your paint will stick to the canvas, and then the other paints will roll over top of it, and you may lose some of your cool composition. So it may seem wasteful, but I scrape far fewer paintings when I do this than if I don't. So is it really wasteful? I mean, I have my base coat that some of that might get tilted off. However, if I had to scrape the painting, I would be losing all of those paints. And possibly the canvas, depending on how bad it was. I'm not sure if I mentioned, I'm just going to make sure that I do, that I added some titanium white to this purple. Because it dries so dark, I wanted the purple to have a little more brightness to it. And now I'm just popping the bubbles in the base coat so those bubbles do not pop up through my pour. Always remember when you're torching, keep it moving. Do not linger in one space. Do not get too close to the canvas. Okay, that is a big old cup. That is definitely enough. I might have a little bit left in here. I'm just going to make myself a little puddle in the center. Definitely have enough paint. That was not enough to keep. So I'm just going to use it as a bit more purple for this to sink into. Oh, I hate when it comes out like that. It's coming out the side. Why does it do that? Okay, well, oh boy. Well, we're off to a start, aren't we? It was too full. If it's too full, sometimes it comes out funny. These paints may have actually been too thick. I'm so used to using the metallics because this is not what I should be seeing. If this were right, all I would be seeing is purple. And the cells would pop up later. Ugh. That was a rough cup. It was rough. Okay. So I may not be getting cells, but it might still be a cool rainbow. If this had worked out right, it would have just been purple, and then all of those colors would be popping up through it. You can kind of tell when it comes out of the cup if it's going to work for you or not. The straight pour, that is. I'll still get some cells here and there, but it's not going to be a whole bunch of cells. Pretty nonetheless, so far. One of the things that I love about a straight pour is I never get mud. I just don't get mud. If I were to do a flip cup with all of these colors, there's a really high chance that that orange and purple would have mixed, or the yellow and purple would have mixed, and I would have gotten some funkiness. All right, I am going to tilt this now. This corner looks like it's setting up to do the thing, so. And I'm going to tilt very slowly. I don't want the paint to roll over itself, even if you have a base coat. If you tilt too quickly, that will still happen. So I bring the weight of the paint back to center before I change directions. Again, coming back to center before I decide what corner gets it next. All right, I'm going to come towards me. I'm probably going to lose the rings on these edges, but I really want to accentuate that center. I think it's beautiful. And there will be more cells popping up. I can see them. I want like that, it almost looks like a wave, like a prism wave. And I want to accentuate that. And the more I stretch this, the more of those little pop-up cells will show up. So I'm gonna stretch this and bring it towards me. Not necessarily trying to tilt it off. I'm just trying to stretch that other side. I'm going to bring it back to the center again. Okay. I think that's it. I'm going to leave it alone, I think. Yeah, I like this. Not what I was going for, but some of the coolest things I've ever done happened because it was not what I was going for, including the first straight pour that ever happened. That was an accident. Yeah, so I think I just went a little too thick to get the kind of cells I was going for, but that's okay. So I need a bit of touching up. I will do that. Okay, so I'm just going to let this sit I'm gonna let it do what it does. I see the blue is really trying to pop up here. So yeah, I will bring you back in a few. Okay, here it is. The paints were definitely too thick, and I'll show you why. I have cells on the side. That does not happen if they are mixed the way they need to be mixed to get that awesome reaction. Still got some smaller cells, little pop-up cells. They're relatively small, but they do add some interest to that background. And really, really beautiful contrast going on here. Not what I was going for, but I'm not unhappy. I still think that this is a beautiful painting. And I think I want the orientation to be, if I can get it in there, kind of like that, so it looks like a wave. I think that looks pretty nifty. But there it is. I hope you learned something. I sure did. I mixed this too thick. I need to go back to my 1 if I'm going to, 1 on the consistency scale if I'm going to be using these particular paints. But there it is. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do click the like button and subscribe and all that good stuff. Let's see, there's more cells on the side there. Help me stay afloat in those algorithms. It's greatly appreciated. Do check out the description box below for links to my PayPal tip jar if you feel so inclined, my affiliate links to Amazon and Blick and Arteza. If you enter through those links, anything that you purchase off of those websites, I receive a small commission of it, no additional cost to you. You will find the link to my website, GinaDeLuca.net, where you can find my art and music and the fluid art inspiration cards for sale. And last but not least, join our Facebook group. Go make some art, post your masterpieces, ask your questions, get some inspiration. All that good stuff. If you hear all those sirens out there, it sounds like I live in Baltimore City again. But Santa is rolling through town right now. They have the fire trucks and the Santas on the back. And so that's what all the ruckus is if the mic is picking that up. Okay, well, that is it for me for today. I hope you all have a beautiful day. Now go make some art.